Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests, today we're thinking about gratitude. So Christmas is almost here, and we're going to be wrapping up the year, and it's this common time where we start to think and reminisce about what happened in this past year and all those things that we can be grateful for. Now, I had originally thought, maybe we should take 5 seconds and think about 3 things that we're each grateful for. Now, we have done this quite extensively throughout this meeting, so I'll give you 3 seconds. 3 things that you're thankful for. Now, if you're like me, and if you're like Andrea, who mentioned her thing that she's most thankful for, or the things that she's most thankful for, are her family and her friends. For myself, family and friends were on the top of my list. But the next thing that I thought about, that I was thankful for, was that I'm thankful to be Canadian. I'm thankful to live in Canada. Now, you might wonder, why would you be thankful to live in Canada? Like this barren wasteland that stretches for miles and miles with nobody around, and it's cold and snow 6 months of the year. Why would you want to live in Canada? Well, there's actually lots of reasons why you can be grateful to live in Canada. And the first things that came to my mind when I did this exercise about a week ago, thinking of what I'm grateful for, was that we have an amazing healthcare system. Now, I wouldn't have said that a year ago. I probably would have corrected you and said, actually, we have a sick care system, thank you very much. This last year, especially in November when my son was admitted to the hospital for 7 days, I realized that we actually have an amazing healthcare system, and I just actually got a call from my wife that we're actually bringing him back to the hospital tonight. So I'm looking forward to being able to have the amazing care without having any cost to me, and this care is afforded to all Canadians. The second thing that I'm thankful for to be a Canadian, or the reason why I'm thankful to be a Canadian, is that we have an amazing education system. And to give you a little perspective, we're ranked 4th in the world overall, of all countries, for our reading comprehension, our math, and our reading comprehension, math, and our, I think that's all. We'll stick with 3, reading comprehension and math. And so there's lots to be thankful for, but I could go on about the small things that I'm thankful for, but I realize that I'm one person and that I have a very narrow perspective. I was born in Canada, so I don't have the unique perspectives that other people might have that aren't born in Canada. And so I realized that I'm not grateful as much as I should be for all the things that I have. And so I thought, why don't I ask the people who are not born in Canada, who now live in Canada, what they're grateful for? So I did. So I asked 4 people that I know, and this is exactly what they told me. They highlighted 4 things, and I will touch on all these in a minute, but most especially, the first one was our multiculturalism. Second, our ability to pursue our dreams. Third, our ability to have a higher standard of living because we offer better pay for the people who live in Canada. And fourth, traffic jams, or lack thereof. So the first thing that I'll talk about is multiculturalism. Now, the person that talked about multiculturalism also mentioned that she really appreciates our education system as well. She had an opportunity to go through the secondary or the post-secondary education system, but she highlighted especially our multiculturalistic society. And she said, exactly, cultures are respected and in many ways valued in Canada, where in my country, it's very monocultural and mono-religious, where any difference is looked upon as deviant and most of the time rejected. I'm able to celebrate my culture freely without racism or rejection, and it's amazing to see all the different cultures living on the same land in harmony. The second person that I asked was from Korea, and she also mentioned that she's very much appreciative of the multiculturalistic society that we live in, and she offered me a new perspective on our ability to pursue our passions as Canadians. And she said, I can give my daughter more opportunities. Korea is too competitive, and you only survive when you are an elite. I want to give other options to my daughter and chances so that she can make her own decisions instead of parents making her choices for her. So I think this goes again back to our education system where we give everybody a fair chance. If you work hard and strive, you can achieve what you're looking for, you can pursue your passions, and we're actually statistically twice as likely to realize the American dream than Americans. believe it or not, if you live in Canada. I'll give you that stat later if you want. The third person that was talking about how, the third person I asked was actually from the Philippines, was talking about how he appreciates that we have a higher standard of living in Canada. Specifically, he has a better opportunity to have a living wage. He said nurses are underpaid and underappreciated, which he is one in the Philippines, and Canada offers more opportunities to specialize in his profession. So an obvious reason to live in Canada if you're going to be able to earn a living wage and be able to provide for your family in a much easier way. And the fourth person, as if 3 new reasons to be thankful were not enough, offered a completely new perspective and a new reason to give thanks of being a Canadian, and that is a person from originally Nigeria. And he said, "It wasn't until I arrived 13 years ago that I knew what it felt like to have an evening to myself after a day's work. Otherwise, the typical thing in a city of 25 million people is to spend the evening in traffic." So traffic jams, if you know what they are, us Canadians, sometimes we don't never even encounter one, although they're elusive, but they're out there. They're more like Sunday afternoon joyrides, really, for most parts of the world. Canada does have them, but they're not very extensive, and that 15-minute commute that might turn into 30 minutes, really, instead of reflecting on, what are we going to be doing after supper, or what game should we play with the kids, we can take a moment to think of, actually, there's a lot of people in the world that probably don't have time to play with their kids and to do things after supper because they're stuck in traffic. So another reason why I'm grateful to live in Canada, because there's hardly anyone here because they can't stand the cold. So these are just 4 new reasons why maybe you could be grateful to live in Canada, and especially I am more grateful to live in Canada because of them. I'd encourage you to think on them as well, especially if you're thinking maybe there's another place that I should move to or live. And I think that if we all think on these things, we can realize that we can become more grateful people and maybe be better. I forgot the last step.